Hey, what is good, everyone? It is the Crooked Commish here with the Chicago Clubhouse Network. It's good to see you all. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed these playoff games that just ended here. And I guess if you're a Chiefs fan, you're happy, with the results. If you're a Bills fan, you're not too happy. And same thing with the Philadelphia fans. So, congratulations to the Chiefs going for a three-peat. Congratulations to the Eagles going for another championship as well. Something that in the future and hopefully in the near future, us Bear fans can be in where they are at and kind of feeling the same feelings that they're having right now and stuff, and that kind of joy and whatnot. So, but we still have a long way to go. The offseason is just getting started for us. There is still a lot of excitement for us to kind of build upon right now. We now know who our head coach is going to be. So Ben Johnson is now the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. He was a very popular choice among Bears fans. A lot of Bears fans wanted a young, hot, new coordinator. They liked what they saw with Detroit. Detroit's offense, from the jump has been getting better and better and better each year that Ben has been the offensive coordinator. So even though he doesn't have very much head coaching experience, or I should say none at all, he's still shown that he can develop an offense, which is something that our Chicago Bears have not been able to see on a consistent basis here at all. So, but there is hope in the air. So, like I said, it's not unfamiliar. We've had this hope as well. But on tonight's show, what we're going to do here, Crooked Commish, along with Amp and Coach Chef, we are going to talk about the latest coaching hires that the Chicago Bears have made, along with Ben Johnson. He is now starting to fill in some of his coaching staff. We have Antoine Randall L. coming in, the coaching staff. It's another coach that we were able to steal away from Detroit. So I was personally hoping that we could also get Mark Brunell, but Ben Johnson's a little bit of a nicer guy than I am. He's shows a little bit more respect than the Crooked Commish would show. So he doesn't want to ruffle his feathers or show any disrespect to Dan Campbell and kind of steal all his coaches, which is fair. I mean, considering that Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, or I should say ex-defensive coordinator for the Lions, now the new head coach for the Jets, he's probably going to want to take a coach or two from the Lions as well to help build up his coaching staff. So, but whatever, like I said, that's more the Lions' problems than our problems right now. So, along with Randall L., who is a Chicago native that the Bears were able to get, we also were able to sign J.T. Barrett as the Bears' quarterback coach, I believe it was. Al Harris as a defensive backs coach for the Bears as well. And then earlier this evening, we were able to make it official in getting Dennis Allen as the Bears' Chicago defensive coordinator. So with all that being said, so far what I've seen this offseason, I have liked. Even though Ben Johnson wasn't my number one head coaching option, regardless, he was still within the top three. So at this point, like I said, everything else, I'm happy with what I'm seeing. So hopefully you guys are happy as well. But if you're not, we'd love to hear about it. Drop a like there. Please let us know in the comments as well. Who, if you didn't want Ben Johnson, who did you want? And then also, what do you think thus far of the coaches that we have hired? So before I get much more into it, let me go ahead and bring in the rest of the crew that is with us tonight here. We are going to go ahead and get in the guy who is always amped up and always has a lot to say about the clubhouse and what the Bears are doing. And that is Amp.
What up, Commish? What up, brother?
Not much. What are you doing? How are you doing?
Man, I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for asking, man. I'm great. Yeah, that intro, I pretty much agree with you. Ben Johnson wasn't my first choice, you know. I wanted Brian Flores. But you know what I'm saying? Hey, don't always work out like that. I said it earlier in one of our anchor podcast. I said that everybody had their own choice in mind. You know, I think the Bears made the right move personally. Now I think they made the right move because Cam Johnson was the flavor of the year. He's what everybody. He's the coach that everybody wanted. Any team that had a vacancy, and I think that the Bears did something different this time around. Being a Bears fan for over 50 years, everything just seemed different, man. I mean, first of all, just having a coach fly in on a private jet, a private plane. Hey, back in the day, they had him flying coach. You know what I'm saying? Making them take a taxi cab from O'Hare to Hallis Hall. You know, so lots changed, man. And I'm looking at these gradual changes, and I like it. I like it, man. I don't want to get out over my skis about everything yet. But I like the way the Bears are moving this year. I like that.
Michael says, be glad we didn't get Flores. His defense ain't all that, and I don't think he's head coach material. Well, hey, like I said, he didn't do too well, with his first attempt there with the Dolphins. So, I mean,
with the Dolphins, he did okay. So, I mean, like I said, we all have our own opinions. We all have our own opinions, but that's neither here nor there now.
Yeah, fair.
That's neither here nor there. But go ahead, Commish.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get further into it, let's go ahead and bring in the third member of our crew. Of course, this is another member that is part of our pregame show, Bears pregame show that we do before every Bears game here during the season. So tonight we're doing an off-season show, kind of like I said, reviewing everything, kind of what Poles has done thus far as GM through free agency and his draft and whatnot. And then also just talk about, like I said, what's going on with the latest coaching hires that the Bears have been able to do so far. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring in our third member of the crew, and that is our coach, Chef.
Yo, what up? Bear down.
Bear down. What's going on, Chef? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Just enjoying my last couple days, of my birthday weekend. Turned 40 a week ago, the 19th.
Oh man,
happy birthday!
Happy belated birthday, man. You still got milk on your breath, man. You're a youngster.
I know no one in the chat knew it because no one acknowledged it, but it's okay. I mean, it's not like everybody's not friends with Oman on Facebook. No, it's okay.
Didn't know. I'm not. We're not Facebook friends.
I know, man.
I didn't know, bro.
That wasn't for you, sir. That
wasn't
for you.
All right.
That wasn't for you.
Cheers to your birthday. Cheers to that.
I got my Terramana. And some squirt right here.
See you. Hey.
About to buy
before we get started, you have my condolences about your mother-in-law.
Oh, thank you so much.
Deepest condolences, brother.
Yes. A lot. This
just
new
found
year
out
has
about
been.
That.
I really appreciate
just found out about that.
A lot has transpired since the first of the year. But yeah, that's big on the family right now. In general, with the boys and my fiance. So I appreciate the condolences. Man, it hurts, especially for them, for me. For those who don't know, the turmoil between me and my mother-in-law. But hey, that's my lady's mother, and I love that lady regardless. So not having her here definitely is a missing piece of the family, because just seeing her face when she was around my boys was a few things. It's like, man, she, how grandmothers are. How grandmothers are. She had grandkids, but they were the babies. So her face would light up every time she saw him. So, but yeah, I appreciate the condolences.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
So we got another happy birthday wish here. Happy birthday, young man. Wait until you're 60.
Oh, Lord.
That's right around the corner for you.
Man. Shoot, I just and Tony know that. So excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know if they know your real name.
My government name. Come on, man. Come on,
man. Cricket notice I just joined a co-ed flag team out here in Phoenix. So I was trying to stay. I was trying to stay active. Man, after that first game, I've been here 7-8 months with no activity. Boy, I was hurting. I was hurting. Ain't been moving like that in a while, boy.
The mind says one thing, but the body like, hey, wait a minute. We're 40 now.
Man.
We're 40 now with no exercise.
Man. Struggle. I just got my first Arizona gym membership yesterday, so I'm trying to get back. Since this 235 ain't sitting right on my body. It ain't sitting right.
If it don't feel right, I hear you.
It don't. I feel sluggish. But I appreciate all the things. Thank you, everybody. Man, this Bears off season. I mean, as we all know, Ben Johnson wasn't my pick for number one.
Hello, Janet.
What's going on, Janet? But he wasn't my top 5. He was a consensus top guy. So worst case scenario, I don't want to bring in bad energy, but just worst case scenario, if things don't work out, it was like, well, I mean, shoot, it wasn't like it was a name that was like someone threw it on the wall and it stuck. This was supposed to be the next guy. So, hey, bring all the positivity.
Like Flus and Nagy.
The opposite of those guys. Exactly.
Man. And so, I can go on.
Other teams wanted him. He was extremely coveted. Right. He's been coveted for 2 seasons. He even said that he decided to go back to Detroit because he wanted to he knew some things that were unresolved that he needed mindful mentally to become a head coach. He wasn't ready to lead a bunch of other coaches. He had a really good press conference, I thought.
Yeah, he did. He commanded it. He commanded it. You know what I mean? As a head coach is supposed to do. That's what I took from it. Like he commanded the room. You know, it's just like someone asked him at another press, like, what would he do? And he knew what the question was going to be about that timeout, that uncalled timeout. And he just did this. Right. Absolutely, man. So we're on the same page. We're starting up on the right page, you know, because he knows, I think he knows what fandom has been going through. You know, I heard him say bear down. So he has, you know, and most importantly, he wanted to coach the rookie. He said that.
So I agree kind of like more or less with what Chef is saying there. You know, we kind of got the best guy, you know, consensus best guy that ever, you know, multiple teams.
I still wanted Kellen Moore, but so, you know, in the ether, you know what? Kellen Moore was a name that has not been talked about. I remember being on different platforms and I'm mentioning Kellen Moore. Like, I think this guy's ready for a head coach. I thought he might go to Dallas because, you know, Jerry Jones only hire people he know, but he went with Ryan Shaw. Never mind.
Jerry's going on the cheap. He's gone on the cheap, man.
Always on the cheap.
I'm talking about this year. This year's it's like normally he tries to cover it up. This year,
General right now.
Oh my goodness! Yes, he is. Yes, he is, man.
This was less impressive than when he hired Jason Garrett.
Right.
For real, huh?
I call that his twin. I call that his twin. I call that his son, Jason Garrett, his son. They look just alike, man. They look just alike.
But anyways, let's get back on these Bears here. So what I was going to say here with Ben Johnson and whatnot. So I do agree with the press conference. He did knock it out of the park and whatnot. He sounded sure of himself. All the answers he gave, he didn't give any wide-eyed answers. A lot of the times when you would see Eberflus get asked a question occasionally, he would like, oh shit, I didn't even think about like that question, and he's just bullshitting his way through the answer, you know, the question and whatnot. So Ben Johnson, like I said, all the questions he got served, he kind of, I felt, handled them well. There was nothing like it seems like he does have a good offensive game plan in mind, and he feels confident in that he'll be able to execute it and whatnot. So, but the best thing I liked about Ben is he already knows how to save his GM and whatnot by saying, I wasn't even ready to coach last season. If I would have gotten offered it, I would have said no, and I still would have gone back to Detroit. Kind of saving polls there from being like, okay, you didn't waste the year on not firing Eberflus and bringing me in last season with a fresh QB with the QB.
I think he was telling the truth. I don't know. Well, I think. Like we try to compare professionals. I think we try to compare professional sports to regular life. But have you, maybe not, have you ever taken an interview for a job that you weren't ready for just to know what it would be like to take that interview? That way, when you knew you were ready for that next opportunity, you could present better answers and have more clarity in your mindset and your thought. I think sometimes in the NFL or in professional sports, guys take these interviews knowing that they won't get certain jobs, but preparing themselves when they're like, hey, look, I know all these things that I never had to think about. Think about it. Last year, it was only his second full year being a coach, an offensive coordinator. He didn't have to think about, hey, who's going to be my special teams coach and my O-line coach and my assistant D-back. Like those things weren't in his mind. So having a year to take a couple interviews just to see the questions that would be asked, the clarity, I think there's a bit of truth because sometimes in these high profile positions, sometimes you're not ready for it. We see it all the time. We see head coaches fired all the time who are not ready for that position, who are coordinators. So maybe, I'm not saying fully, but maybe he went back to Detroit like, okay, these are the things that I need to be mindful of when I get my opportunity. So I know how to answer those questions. I know who I have in mind for these positions. I know the direction of my team, and I need another year of just a little more seasoning. Sometimes everybody needs more seasoning sometimes.
You know what, Coach? Yeah, I'm thinking, just like you said, that extra year, need a little bit more seasoning. But when I do go, if I go, this is who I want. And he started checking boxes. I'm going to ask such and such to be my D coordinator. I'm going to ask such and such to be my, offensive line. OC, you know what I'm saying? And so I think he had already checked the boxes, and that's why we've seen thus far these moves: Dennis Allen, Doyle, and like Commish, Anton Randall, JT Barrett.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we see and some more is gonna pop up, man. Now I just want to see
comment. Yeah. I want to get
Jim
Harbaugh
thing. So look, here's the thing, and I've listened to all of these different podcasts and all these different things. There is no guarantee we were going to get Jim Harbaugh. So the indictment on polls has always been, well, he didn't even ask or he didn't interview him because he was going to keep him. But I've heard accounts that say that Jim didn't want to be in Chicago, that Jim wanted to be on the West Coast because he coached at Stanford, he coached in the 49ers, and he coached at San Diego. So just because Jim has some space in the heart because as Bear fans, he was the quarterback of the Knights, maybe he didn't want the job. Maybe. I don't know. None of us really know. There's always going to be, he might have wanted it. He should. Look, there's been no accounts or no research or anyone who's reported on the story that said Jim wanted the Bears. Yeah, no one's confirmed that Jim wanted this Bears job. There are messages that he wanted to coach Herbert and he wanted to be on the West Coast though. So
one thing's
Michael,
for sure.
Real quick, I wanted to give Michael his props on his picture there. I like the picture that he's using there. It's very familiar from what's going on right here. So
y'all
didn't notice. So
Michael Sons of Hallis.
Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, Sons of Hallis.
Yeah, okay.
That was one of my favorite shows, man, when it was on.
I like
Sons
the
of Anarchy.
I'm one of the people.
I
didn't watch it. Sorry.
Oh man, that was the show.
But Coach Chef, please go ahead. Let us know what do you think of the other hires? Antwell Randall L coming in. We have JT Barrett as a QB coach, and then we also have Al Harris, an ex Packer cornerback.
Trust me, I was going to address that. So here's the thing.
but he has done a good job in Dallas thus far.
12 plus years as a DB coach, quote unquote, the new passing game coordinator, all of these sub coaching positions
titles,
they have now in the NFL,
titles, sub positions.
But look, the guy did it. He's gotten a decade of coaching, so he's a bona fide defensive back coach. He's young enough, because I think we overanalyze the youth. Like I would see stories like, oh, Mike McCarthy's too old because he's in his 60s. I'm like, every head coach, just because coaches are being hired in their 30s and 40s now, doesn't make 60 old for a head coach.
I don't know about that. Pete Carroll is 73 with a 3-year contract.
Wait. 73 is different from 60. 73 is different from 60.
That's what I'm saying. So we're
73 is different from 60.
Absolutely.
So Pete Carroll's another story. But
yeah.
I like the Barretts bringing him on as a young quarterback coach. Mm-hmm. He has some knowledge. He's played obviously at the college level. He was a Heisman finalist at one point. He's the national champion. He's been coaching at the NFL level a couple of years. He played a little bit in Canada, had some injuries. He wasn't the most mobile quarterback. So all of those things I think will help. And also him being generationally a little younger for his relation to the social media aspect. Stuff like that. All these things I think are going to help. Antoine Randall, a former college quarterback, although he didn't play it in the league, he does have like 6 touchdowns, I believe, as a receiver. His fieriness. He's a local kid. I'm from the South.
I love him, because he's local. I love him, man. I've always liked him
till I die. I'm from the South Side of Chicago, but I claim Dalton. That's why I grew up initially. His as I was telling some people, he went to he was from Riverdale, Harvey area. He went to Thornton High School. I went to Thornridge. That was our rival growing up. He's a legend. His families are legends in that South Side, South Burbs area of Chicago. So he's a well-known name. He's played in the league, played in college. So I think that'll bring more juice to our receivers room, and just his energy. You can see it game in, game out when, all these guys have some juice to them, a little more cachet, a little more energy. Not saying the energy is a bad thing or a good thing, but sometimes you need some fieriness from your coaches, especially with this generational player who tend to be slightly more emotional, because of the outside thumping in with social media. So I like the signing so far. Allen as a DC. Now we did have earlier before he was confirmed, we had someone in our group, one of our fellow podcasters, said that I'm not impressed with Dennis Allen. Why not? Why are you not impressed with a guy who you didn't know, who I'm sure he didn't know had the Saints playing at a very elite clip for the past decade?
Yeah, How
are you not impressed by a former 2-time head coach whose defense has been proven in the NFL? He's not Washington, who just left. He's not Eberflus. He's actually better than any defensive coach we've had since probably Lovie Smith.
Just to have a former head coach on the coaching staff, you know what I mean? That right there, right there, kind of like to anchor the Ben Johnson, so maybe a Ben Johnson.
Dennis Allen is a bona fide, certified, defensive coordinator. He's a little more aggressive, but I mean, I know we're not from New Orleans, but how many defensive in the past decade? How many super defensive players can you name from the Saints? I mean, besides Lattimore, who's now in Buffalo, and they have a linebacker who's really good. But like, who knew that the Saints have been rated so high in all these other metrics, being top 10 in defense for the past decade? So
a bunch of Jags.
Just another guy. Sometimes, I mean, they've got some guys. They've had they had Hayward. Cam Jordan. But still, a guy who's a bona fide head coach, top 10 defenses, and what's it? EPA, like efficientness of credited for touchdowns and your defensive effectiveness. Solid hire. Solid hire.
What was cool?
I kind of wanted Salah, but hey, you can't.
It was only natural for him to go back to
a proven guy.
The 49ers. It was only natural for him to go back to the 49ers. But what I liked about the Dennis Allen hire is we were hearing leaks and rumors of this being a possibility like about a week ago. And
it's been about a week.
Close to a week. When we hear that shit, plans tend to fall through. like he gets picked up somewhere else, or something else just happens to snag that plan, and it's like, oh no, he's going to go somewhere else. So the fact that that the word got out on that relatively early, and then it was still able to kind of come to fruition was really cool and nice to see. But I also, what do you guys think here? We have Michael with the question here. I was thrilled to get him, but then I thought there was a rumor going around about Dan Campbell was trying to get him, and glad Ryan was pulling off. Oh, I'm sorry, not this one here, right here. Your thoughts on the OC that was hired here, Doyle, Duncan Doyle.
I like him.
Has that been confirmed? Is that confirmed, Duncan Doyle?
It is. It is.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Another young guy.
Doyle from Denver. Coach Denver. I like the coaching staff. Yeah, I like the coaching staff, man. Yep. I like
another young hire. He won't be the play caller, so that's
pretty well. Or help develop.
But then again, that's coaching with Sean Payton. Yeah. So you gotta
I got ahead of my skis
little there. Check. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He helped. He was a part of the conglomerate to help. Trust me,
is the fact that he was
he did that
coaching
shit
under Sean Payton. It was the fact that he was coach. He was coaching with Sean Payton.
Yeah, Sean Payton.
You know what I mean?
Sean
So
Payton is a particular
Payton,
type of guy.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest Sean Payton guy, but
I'm not.
But he does have his quarterbacks always playing well. His offense is always solid. They produce. Maybe I'm not a fan of his ego, but that's what it takes sometimes to be in that position, is that ego. And a guy that he picked to be part of his coaching staff. Hey, solid hire. Only time will tell. He won't be the play caller, but if we have Ben Johnson as for a long haul, maybe he develops into that fact. Like Andy Reid. Andy Reid was a play caller for most of his coaching career. Now, later in his career, he's letting other guys call plays because you gain that confidence in your team that they can call plays and they can have more control over the say of the team and the offense. So you're building so far a solid squad. Only time will tell. I don't have much research on Doyle compared to the other guys, but hey, guys got to come from somewhere. Everybody can't be a veteran. Everybody can't be a 10-year head coach. Everybody's got to work their way up. Every year we get new names we've never heard of. So, hey, only time will tell. We'll see. Ben Johnson obviously will be a part of it. He did say in his meetings that although he'll be playing calls, he definitely wants a guy who's going to put the work in. And usually them guys who are interns and before they get official titles, they do a lot of the hard work, breaking down film, breaking down stats, doing all that stuff. So, yeah.
My brother wants to know.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother wants to know who do we think is going to be the O coordinator? I have no idea, Rich. I have no idea, bro. The way this has been going, I have no idea.
I've never heard of that guy, Amp. Where's he from? Mr. I have no idea. Is that a college guy?
That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm saying that, Commish, because all this is different. I'm saying this because all this is different, man. I mean, the way the Bears are moving, the way they're going about it methodically. Get your guy first. Get your guy in the building. Secure him, which they did, and then let him start cooking. As you know what I mean? Let him start cooking. Let him start adding to his coaching staff. As long as Poles and the McCaskies let this guy cook. Let him cook. Let him cook. You just sign the check. You just sign the check and let him cook. If you put enough trust in him to be the head coach of this organization, when everybody knows that this guy, like Chef said, like you said, he's never been a head coach before. But I watched him. I like what I saw. He wasn't my number one choice, but you got the guy. And just let him cook, man.
You definitely got a guy who was one of the guys who are going to be the head coach. For O-line coach, we don't know. Look, as much as we think we know everything, look, I can't name 10 O-line coaches in the NFL right now, so don't ask me. But all you got to do is when they make the hire, you do your research, you see what he's done with the projects he's had. Everybody's not going to get the Lions offense. So I would expect him to go for a veteran O-line coach just because of the turmoil and the ether always talking about how bad the O-line is. I doubt the O-line coach will be a young guy. I think he'll probably be
just about to say that.
Yeah, I think he'll be
I was just about to say that. Chef.
If he wants a
that
name,
is a crucial position.
Yeah.
You know,
wants a
as a
name,
coach.
I'll give him a Chicago name here that I'm sure that
Go
we
ahead.
all wouldn't mind seeing. Is what the hell? Get Olin Kreutz on here as an O-line.
Come on, Commish. Stop. That's
You
the
wanted
Bears
a
have
name.
changed. Hey, check this out.
You
Check
wanted
this
a
out.
name.
Just because
The Bears, hold up. The Bears have changed. The Bears have changed. I said that they're moving different. I don't think they changed that much. Where they want to bring in an ex-player. And
They've never brought in ex-players though before.
Commish, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Commish, I love that.
Ex-player who's critical.
First of all, let me preface it by saying I love that. The thought of having Olin Kreutz coach that line, coach a offensive line for the Bears. Man, I love that thought. I don't think the Bears have changed. I don't think they changed that much though, Commish. They're not bringing back old players. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know. I know. I don't.
If they do that, I'm sold, man. I'm hooked. If they bring Cruz in for the O-line, man, I'm hooked. I'm already hooked. But hey, you bring back a former player, a former Pro Bowl player. Yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Did he make the Hall of Fame?
He's going to be eligible here soon.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Not yet.
Yeah, but I'm talking about. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, man. Definitely him.
I think it wouldn't be bad maybe if you brought him in as one of those analysts or a guy who's an assistant O-line coach. I really think with certain positions you want some certain. I know it. We all give credit to guys who played in the league, but just because you played in the league, not all players make really good coaches. Some do.
If you take
a guy like Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau's a Hall of Fame player and a head coach, but that's rare. McCaskey, I don't think they're going to hire. I don't think
he's critical. He is critical.
Exactly, he is critical. I don't think they're going to hire anyone who's been critical.
Rich said McCaskey hates Olin. My brother said McCaskies hate Olin Kreutz. But
we don't know this,
check this out, Rich.
I believe it.
Who don't they hate? What former player don't they hate? I'm just saying, Rich. What former player do they like?
Ben said at their press conference, be comfortable being uncomfortable. So that would make the McCaskies really uncomfortable to get Olin Kreutz in that. So if they really mean that shit, get a guy that's going to be a fucking dickhead and be like, yo, you fucked up. That's what we kind of liked about seeing with Randall L there. He got on Jameis Williams
I don't know, man.
on the side. I
don't think he's ready yet. He's still got, I could be wrong, but even if they offered him, he's got 2 kids who still play college ball. I think people also underestimate the freedom that these ex-players have who are just like commentators on TV. Like coaching is a whole nother beast. Collegiate coaching, pro coaching, the time you think you had when you can just, I'm going to go do a show 3 days a week. I've got, I'm only going to spend maybe 5 hours of pre and post game prep. And then the show is about an hour and I can go see my boys in U of I. People underestimate the time that these coaches at the NFL and high college level put in. Some players don't want that. Don't want that. That's a lot of time. That's going to take away.
And that's what I was about to say. If they want it, coach, it's just like your job, just like a job interview. If you want it, whether you've done it or not. If I'm interviewing for, let's say, Swift Trucking Company, I've never driven a 16-wheeler in my life. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I will do? I will do my homework on that company. You know what I'm saying? And see exactly what they want, what they're looking for. When they ask me, where would I take this company? Where do I see myself with this company in 10 years? I'll have an answer for them. You know what I'm saying? So I said that to say, if Kreutz wanted to coach, I'm sure, like you said, he would have reached out to the Bears and put that flyer in there, threw that flyer out there if he wanted to coach. But I can't say that about other Bears, you know what I'm saying, who they have not brought in. Heck, Mike Singletary was a head coach.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that guy hasn't gotten a chance to be a DC again or a linebacker coach.
That's my point. That's my point. Crazy. That's bad, man. That's bad.
I think I don't know. I would really love to know why that guy hasn't gotten another chance. I don't want to hear anything about his age. I think that no matter what happened as he was the head coach, he had years as a DC, as a linebacker coach. So when guys like that don't get in the league, it makes me think that sometimes that the good old boy league, and I don't mean good old boy league, ethnically.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
The fact that some guys are so much verbally opinionated. So what's another term? So boisterous that teams don't want to be bothered with them. They pick and choose who they want to be bothered with. Like a John Gruden.
Oh, that's obvious. That's obvious.
If John Gruden didn't have the thing he had with the emails and and the accusations and things like that, that guy'd be a coach somewhere right
He'd
now.
be a coach. He'd be a coach right now.
Who just got a job again at the college level, at the HBCU level, but he got a job who went through a whole bunch of turmoil about a decade ago? Art Briles. It took a long time for that stank to come off that man, but he got a job.
Say that again. Say it again, Coach.
Briles.
Are you serious?
He's
Are you
head
serious?
coach.
Wow.
For those who don't know, his stank comes from Baylor, where he was not acknowledging the sexual assaults of his players while he was at Baylor, and it took a while to
sweeping them under the rug. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think he's the head football coach at. I don't. I want to say. I hope it's not Grambling, but it's a HBCU. But I say that to say that certain coaches have, because of the things they've done, whether it's that's more semi-legal, really some shady shit he did at Baylor, But for Singletary, he was a certain way on the mic, and his things that happened, the things that he said in the locker room that some owners GMs might not be too fond of.
Cannot win with them. Cannot coach him. Can't do it.
Yeah, see, things like that, Commish. Words like that, you say in the locker room. You don't say at the podium. You know what I'm saying? The last person to do that was Shanahan. Shanahan with Washington. I'm not talking about the son. I'm talking about the pops. When he threw RG3 under the bus at the podium.
Okay.
And they had drafted
Shanahan
Cousins.
also was a Super Bowl winner, so he got
no. I'm talking about when RG3 was getting racked up. He was playing hurt. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He was getting racked, and then Shanahan came to the podium and said, "Our quarterback is not calling the plays that I want to call." I'm like, "Whoa, what is that?" And next thing you know, Kirk Cousins is in there, and RG3 went home to retire. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. My point is this: it's certain things that should be said in the locker room and not at the podium. That's all I'm saying. Fair. I use that to talk about Mike Singletary. I can't coach them; they're untouchable. It's certain things you should say at the podium, certain things you shouldn't. It's just football.
So real quick here, before we go on a commercial break real quick and pay some of these bills, I wanted to quickly, if I could, get a maybe letter grade from you guys of what you think of the head coaching hire and the DC hire that we've had so far. So if you could let me know that real quick, give me a letter grade, and also in the chat, let us know what you do think of the Ben Johnson hire and the Dennis Allen as our DC, A, B, C, D, or F. And then after that, guys, we'll pay some bills, and we'll come back, and then we'll start getting into Ryan Poles and take a look at his track record. Look what he's done in free agency, maybe some of the trades he's pulled off, and then even look at some of the draft picks he's done the first 2 years that he's been here. So real quick, Coach, Amp, what letter grade would you give the Bears on giving Ben Johnson higher?
Man, it's hard. It's hard. Real quick, it's hard to grade a coach, man, that's never taken the field. You know what I mean? Our team needs a lot, so I'm gonna go with incomplete. I like the hires. I like the hire. I like the coaches that he's bringing on, but I don't want to say A and then he turns out to be an F. You know what I'm saying? So until I see some change, you know what I'm saying, in that locker room, on that field, I'm gonna just go with incomplete, man. I like the hire though. I like the hire.
Coach Chef, did you have an eye as well?
No, I'm going to give it, because people had all this apprehension about the Bears were going to get the guy that they've been trying to get. I'm going to give it an A for the fact that we had all these rumors about Ben Johnson going to the Raiders and the Jags, and then when Mike McCarthy got free, although Mike was in my top 5, I ain't gonna lie, I don't give a shit. I'm not one of these people who's like, he's an ex-Packer. Look, bro. My man is a 12. He's a bona fide winner. You can talk all about that. He hasn't won in the playoffs. What have the Bears done in 25 years in the playoffs? I would have taken Mike
Let's
McCarthy.
get to the playoffs.
Yeah, how about we get there and then we'll worry about that other shit later. But I give it an A because a guy, they weren't afraid to spend money. They made him a top 10 paid coach in the league. They spent the money that people have been saying that they don't want to spend. They were aggressive going after that guy for the in this cycle. They got him in for the first one. They brought him back in for the second one once the Lions were out of it. And you got the guy that has been coveted. So when was the last time the Bears got the guy that was coveted from them and from other teams? So I give them an A for that hire. What he's done, obviously, that grade is for later. But for the hire of Ben Johnson, a guy that's been in the Bears ether for 2 years, I give him A because you had a guy. I almost give it the same grade when we got Julius Peppers. How Lovie Smith showed up at that man's house to sign him as a free agent. It's like, man, the Bears gonna go get they really gonna get a high.
Yeah, but Julius Peppers, I agree with you. Julius Peppers was proven though. Everybody knew he's gonna come in and be a difference maker.
But they went to go get that guy and they got him. They didn't mess around.
True.
They didn't. That
was before the tampering really started. Before tampering,
my man showed up free agency
at his door. At his door, right? Yeah.
So I give him an A for the hire. You had a guy at the top of your list who's not who's that guy? Who's this Matt Nagy guy? Who's the OC? But he doesn't really call plays. But he did. But he didn't. You went to get the guy. Who's the guy of this haul right now for this year's coaching? He was number one for all the coaches available. He was number one, and you got the number one guy. So I give him an A.
I agree. Like I said, he was one of the main dominoes that needed to fall. And of course, and you saw that once like Vrabel got hired and there was still not very much commotion amongst the coaches out there. And then it's like once Ben Johnson got hired, then it's like boom, boom, boom. You started seeing the Raiders get their head coach, the Saints get their head coach, and then or the Jaguars get their head coach and stuff like that. So he was definitely the centerpiece of the free agent or the best available coaches out there. So, but guys.
I'm sorry. Before you do the commercial, let me restate. So our Browse is not coaching. He was supposed to be hired as the Grambling State offensive coordinator, but when the accusations and the media came about his prior transgressions at Baylor, he ended up resigning. So he is not currently coaching at the collegiate level from the research.
I was about to say, man, if you can do that and get away with it, you know,
it ain't been long enough.
Yeah, that's the problem right there.
You
need another 5 years, maybe another 5 years, huh? Maybe another 5 years.
Some of this under the rug. And he need to go on a excuse me, he need to go on a what's my man's name? A Ray Rice media tour.
Oh, not mentioning Ray Rice.
Ray Rice is a pillar of the community, sir. Michael Vick. Those guys are pillars of the community now.
Michael Vick, man, that was
Ray Rice. He's done all these activist things. He's done all these activists. Ray Rice has done all these things. Him and his wife now have been married for a while, for some years now. He's done all these things. Advocating.
He was physical with nothing else.
Domestic.
He was physical. He was physical with nothing else. I'm not making fun of domestic abuse. I'm not. I'm just saying that guy. Holy hell! That guy was the face. That guy was the face of abusive, physical abuse. He was, man. Because part of the NFL players.
You found camera footage of it. But our Browse is not coaching, but he was brought out. But yeah, so far so good.
Pay some bills, Commish.
With that retraction done and over with, let's go ahead and get to these bills.
I'll be right back.
I'm trying to be king. You crazy. I'm real. King of what? Okay, bow down. Let the trumpet sound.
carpet, roll out the red 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 carpet.
So King Poles, that's what we were all saying a few years back there when he was first making all these trades and hires. Yes, King Poles. And now after a short while later, a lot of us were kind of being like, what the fuck is going on here? What's happened to these what happened to these moves that we thought were so great at the beginning and just kind of did not develop into what we were all hoping for. So real quick, I wanted to ask you guys, we it's still kind of up in the air as far as what exactly Poles' contract is. You know, he may be on a 1 year left. He may have 2 years left here. So the Bears have not answered that question. They've done everything to avoid that question, even though they've been asked multiple times, you know, between Kevin Warren and whatnot. They just refuse to answer that question. They say a year's a lifetime is what they say. So that may give us a hint that Poles may have only a year left in this GM. So with that all being said, real quick, if the Bears this next season only win, like I said, they won 5 games this season. If they only win with this new coach here, let's say 6 games, is that something to where you would have to maybe look at Poles and then think about getting rid of a GM, or maybe if he's done with this contract, you're not going to re-sign him? How many games do you think the Bears need to win on this upcoming season for Ryan Poles to kind of being like, okay, like he's not going anywhere, like no doubt about it, like he's staying put? So, or if his contract's ended, he's getting an extension if his contract ends.
To me, it's going to be the same number it was for Eberflus if he was going to stay from last year. It's going to be 8 to 10 games, safe being 9.
I'd be surprised they fire a GM mid-season.
I believe, first of all, I want to start by saying I believe Poles has 1 year left, and it was now or never, baby. And it wasn't him. It was upstairs. The McCaskies got tired of hearing that about the Bears on a national level. And so he's on the hot seat. As far as the wins, I said this 2 years ago, man. I'm looking for double digits. Single wins won't cut it. I noticed a new coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have new players. Need new culture in there, and that's why you change that culture around. Change the culture around. Hollis Hall, man. I think we can go from worst to first. Look, I mean, if Washington can do it, and I think, and to this day, today, I'm saying it, I think we still got the best quarterback in that draft last year. I think we still got the best quarterback in that draft. Mm-hmm.
How many?
Because it's not. You're right. Because it's not about one season. It's about the career.
I think we got the best quarterback in that draft, and I'm looking for double digits.
Hey, if people forget that, though I was an RG3 guy, actually I was an Andrew Luck guy, but I believed in RG3. RG3 was the rookie of the year that year. He was a rookie of the year that him and Andrew Luck came in the league. He was the rookie of the year. Mm-hmm. He did have the injuries, but of that year, he was the best rookie. He got his teams, that Washington then Redskins team, now Commanders, to a playoff game, but he got hurt. So only time will tell. But yeah, we got time. Shoot.
Yeah. I think we got the best one.
Jalen got to an AFC Championship game. Shoot, Dan Marino got to a Super Bowl in the second season and never got back.
It's the
NFL.
Yeah, and there he is in the Hall of Fame. One of the greatest to ever lace him up, man.
That's another thing that kind of bugs me about now. Like, people seem to have short memories now. Everything's now, you can't win in the playoffs, your legacy. It's a bunch of pro quarterbacks who in the Hall of Fame who never sniffed a Super Bowl ring. Yeah. Who never sniffed a Super Bowl. So
some that went to the Super Bowl never won. Jim Kelly never won. 0 for 4. Like, man. Hall of Famer. He's the one that make your heart beat, man. I mean, to get there, because you always want to root for the underdog. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just want to root for the underdog.
We're just in a current event. I mean, what they gonna say about Josh Allen tomorrow, or what they gonna usually do with Josh Allen is give him the benefit of the doubt. But that's a whole nother argument. I'm glad.
Man, don't talk about my guy, man. I'm a Josh Allen fan. Man. Don't talk about my guy.
I'm glad they lost. Ain't nothing like Bills Mafia that I didn't want to see in the Super Bowl. Trust me, I did.
It's KC. Seeing them again.
Better than Bills Mafia.
Nah, we can go back and forth all day with this, man.
Every time I look at Buffalo fans, you know what I don't see in the crowd? Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
Before I get into these names,
just saying. I'm not saying he's not a phenomenal talent, but you know the chirping from the outside. If that guy gets there, he win. But you'll never hit the end result. He be the next coming of. Never mind. Never mind.
No comment, man. No comment. None. I understand. None.
The Maccas will be out here, boy. The Maccas will be out here.
Jeff.
I'm just saying. I'm not wrong though.
Jeff.
I'm just saying. Oh Lord. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's bring this back in.
I'm sorry.
So, Coach Chef, let's refocus here. How many wins would you say that Ben Johnson and the Bears would need to have in order for Ryan Poles, to be able to stay employed, remain the Bears GM and stuff? Does he need to be in the double-digit wins like Ampa is saying, or a 9 or 8 win season would suffice?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I think they're more poised for a bigger season than this year. Being that Caleb would be in his second year, yes, it'll be his second offense, but you also account for the defensive coordinator being Allen. I think they can win 9, not minimum. Like I can go safe with the 8 and 9, but really I got them. 12 would be amazing because that'll.
Oh my.
That'll be
amazing.
You saw
that schedule, right?
I got them about. You saw the schedule. 7. Hey man, football is football. Beginning of the year, we had at the beginning of this year, which is not officially over, we had the easiest schedule. But if you look at the record of those teams, we actually ended up with not the easiest schedule because a lot of those teams ended up being the Washington. We played Washington. They're winning the conference championship. The 3 other teams in the NFC Central all made the playoffs.
Oh, we knew that. So, we didn't know about Minnesota, but still, we knew Green Bay would be there.
The teams on the schedule, majority of those teams make the playoffs. So that because remember, you're going from the previous year record. So previously from the year before, we had the easiest record. But when you looked at it after they played the games and you look at these final records, you're like, yo, they played a really good schedule. Yes, it was theoretically easy earlier. But once the season started to come to fruition, you're like, yo, this back half, these motherfuckers is winners. It became tougher. So I think with the defense getting insurgents for Dennis Allen, the offense, we got to see who the O-line coach is. But I think that the offense will be much better this year. I think the coaching will be much better this year as a whole. I got them winning 10. I say 10-7. 10-7.
What?
Not even seeing the free agents, not even seeing just seeing, because coaching matters, man. Coaching matters at every single level, but it matters. The higher you go, it even matters more. Like, yes, these are grown ass men, but what accountability and influence are you going to put on these grown men to hold other grown men accountable to want to win, to want to go in 17 games and win games, man? It matters at the NFL level. You just can't throw a bunch of talented guys on the field and then give them a regular coach and then expect they're going to win. That's not how that happens in the NFL. Mediocre or average quarterbacks have won Super Bowls. There are not many mediocre or average head coaches who have won Super Bowls.
Go ahead, before we get into the list.
I was just about to say, I want you, Commish, to go in the chat, man. See about the grades, see about the wins. I mean, those that are tuning in to us, if they put a comment up about the grades and the amount of wins, read it, man. Because we appreciate you guys.
Sure. We do appreciate all the chats and stuff. We try and keep up with them as much as we can. So we did have 2 A's coming in from Richard as far as the coaching hires, what they think of Ben being the head coach. So Michael also gave that an A for the decision and bringing in a top-notch coach, basically the top guy out there. So, but real quick, so let's get into the list here. Richard also was saying, before even we get into the draft and free agency, he's thinking along the lines of Coach Chef that with the coaching staff alone, that if all else goes right, that we should probably get to a good 10-win season.
And this is even
Michael
before we
as
hit
well
free
saying
agency.
Correct, 8 to 10 wins. But the one he did, the Carolina draft, the one at the age, did not allow the trade with the Steelers no more. They screw to him every time.
But the one he did with Carolina as the draft was one day
for the ages, but is not allowed to trade.
Oh, he's talking about polls.
Okay.
He's talking about polls. Policing the Panthers.
We'll definitely get into it. So speaking of the free agent list, these are the free agents that Poles went and brought in his first year. Granted, this was the year that he was destructing more than he was creating because he was trying to make
cap space,
and yes,
a lot of 1 year.
So do you want to
the free agents they did get were a lot of 1 year deals?
Do you want to sign or release? You want to assign or release answer like that? Can we do that? You call them off and we'll let you know what we think.
I'm going to throw out these names here. Let me know just kind of what your thoughts of that signing now that we've seen stuff. Was it, like I said, and to be fair, like I said, a lot of these are hard to grade because a lot of them are 1 year contracts and whatnot. But still, at the same time, like how I was talking about in the past shows, Amp, you would hope that at least some of these 1 year guys would stick. No,
Maybe.
because all these guys that are here on 1 year, they're looking to get a contract somewhere else. Like look at Swift. He signed a 1 year contract with the Eagles and parlayed that into a longer contract with us. You know what I mean? So these guys that are coming in here, they're looking for longer contracts. And why not, if they play good and develop it well and you like what they've seen within that 1 year that you brought them in, why not be able to keep them and whatnot? So, but like I said, this is the overall. Let me just throw these names out here. Let me know what you think of this overall free agent signing period here. So we had Nicholas Monroe. I believe that was a linebacker that he signed. I think that was a 1 year deal as well. Matt Adams was a linebacker that he signed. Lucas Patrick was in under 1 year deal. Center Justin Jones. We had Laquan.
We had him for a couple years.
Muhammad.
Who's
Justin
playing?
Jones ended up being for a couple years.
It's not for us.
No, well, yeah. Ryan Griffin, tight end. Equinemius St. Brown, Deontay Pettis, and then Ryan Pringle. So that was more or less not very much, but that was the year one free agent.
Clean house. All of them. Everybody you just named.
That seemed that was
all of them.
Justin Jones.
Everyone there except for Justin Jones, who actually was one of our top linemen for 2 years. Actually, I can't see. I can't see the forest for the trees for what's in front of me. I speak of, I'm glad you're admitting it.
Right. Hey, check this out, man. When I think of the Bears offensive line, and I know, we've been injured, and PFF says this about no.
Okay.
No. Last 2 years, no.
That y'all expect me to say.
Go ahead, man.
And
I
know you were going to bring up those names, and I'm going to say, no one's going to remember this unless you do extensive research. Who were the guys who were available that free agency year? Who were the guys?
We don't know.
No one knows. Exactly.
I don't know.
No big names were signed that year who are offensive linemen. We haven't even got to the draft, which I have my opinion on the draft. But
that wasn't the question.
For the first year, you got some skilled guys. The true person who you thought would maybe help Justin would have been Pringle. But then if you look at Pringle stats only came being the fourth option for Patrick Mahomes, and what happened to him? He hasn't done much since he's left KC, so you thought you might get some juice from him. He had some injuries. Equinemius St. Brown was exactly who we thought he would be. He's a special teams guy who is a physical guy, but not that physical. He's not really a vertical guy. Has some speed. He has some games where he made some plays, but he didn't. He's been a consistent guy actually his entire NFL career. He's been the same guy. So you got exactly what you got from him. What you got? You know what? You got what you got from the previous.
You know what?
Did any of those guys help develop the culture that you wanted to develop?
There's no one.
That's why.
And I was about to go to that.
No.
There's no one who you just named, Commish, should be in that locker room next year. When I say, excuse me,
and it is only two names where I think.
When I see culture change, them, everyone you just named, and Mercedes Lewis, anybody that's stealing, anybody that was stealing, Anybody that was still in there was taking up a roster space. They was taking up a roster space for
But you got to
somebody.
fill a roster.
Yeah, but
You gotta
that's
fill a
what
roster.
the draft
if
and
they're-
free
if they're-
agency is for. Let's run it. Let's run it.
if-
Let's run it again. We
run it
saw
again,
what we
you're right.
saw. The eyes
sometimes,
don't
look,
tell half truth.
when the
They don't
free
tell
agent
truth.
list, when they were in the straits they were financially, you got a lot of all those contracts were cheap. If you actually go do the numbers, all those contracts, none of those, they didn't reach on any of those guys. You actually got more solid play out of Justin Jones, who's still in the NFL producing. Equanimous, what he was. You didn't get out of some of the names. The first 3-4 names you named, they were all like special teams guys. Like you need those guys, but none of them were starters. No, that's a wash. You got what? You got Justin Jones, Equanimous for 2 years.
That's not what he asked though.
With Patrick,
he asked, "Do you bring them back?" His question asks, "Do you bring them back?"
No, I mean,
that
was 3 years ago now. It's going on 3 years now. So no. Do you
re-sign
Patrick? I don't know Patrick. I don't know. I don't think his was a 1-year deal, but they had him for 2 years. You had Equanimous for 2 years. You had Justin Jones for 2 years. So those guys stayed. The most productive person on that list was Justin Jones.
So let's get into the second year. The second year is a bit more. He had a bit more cap space and a bit more players. So some of these names kind of stuck a bit more. So second year of free agency: T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Nate Davis, DeMarcus Walker, P.J. Walker, Andrew Billings, Deontay Foreman, Robert Tonyan, Travis Homer, Yannick Ngakoue, Coleman Shelton.
Got a lot more guys. Got a lot more guys.
It's like every time.
I can name the guys right now. So Ngakoue, we all know that they didn't sign until right before the season started.
Yes, correct.
It was a 1-year deal because that was the whole rumor. Like we needed another defensive end because we didn't have any. He underperformed, but he also got hurt. You got both your linebackers. Yes, you signed one for just a few million less than you traded for the guy who's still an all-pro type of a linebacker. But the writing was on the wall. They weren't going to bring him back long term. Is it whose fault is it? We don't actually know. But
we know
based on the comments preseason from Roquan, he wasn't probably going to be signed long term. And that's what it is. You could blame it on the scheme, you could blame it on the GM. He wasn't going to come back. So TJ Edwards, you got a baller. Edmonds, you probably could have got for cheaper, but you didn't. But sometimes you're gonna have to pay some guys that probably weren't exactly worth.
You gotta pay to find out that they're not playing up to par.
That's how it be.
Sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes you have to do that. You know,
he hasn't been trash, but he has been obviously underwhelming.
Let me say this. Let me put the caveat on next, Coach. As a Bears linebacker,
a little static.
Amp, yeah, you're there's a lot of static when you talk right now. I'm not sure what's going on with your headset right now, but when you're talking, it
might be the mic. It might be the mic.
Yeah.
You were good until just like literally before you started talking.
Literally.
You were good.
I'm not sure if it's going low on you or whatnot, but all of a sudden it just you're really muffled. Try again.
Well, like you were going under a wind tunnel or something. But yeah.
How is that?
Go ahead.
How is that?
No, it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That was weird.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead. Finish the show.
So, those were the guys there as far as the free agent signings. A lot better. There's a lot bigger names out there and whatnot that you could. We'll go ahead and try and bring Amp back. Let him try and fix his things real quick. So
once again,
like I said, some of those names are still with the team as far as the Travis
obviously,
Homer,
and they'll be with the team next year.
Shelton, I don't know if Homer will still be there. I don't know if Homer will be there.
But hey, they kept Homer around. They kept him special team. He was a key special team guy. Both linebackers will be here. Like it's not worth getting rid. So say you're going to keep TJ Edwards. He's going to be here.
Okay.
Edmonds, you could cut him, but is the cutting of him and the money you're going to get back, is it going to be worth it? You're probably going to have him another year. You hope the system kind of makes it a little better for him. You had a very non-aggressive system. Right. So both those linebackers
probably won't be back.
Who? Say it again.
Delonte Walker.
Oh, he might.
Or
No, we
DeMarcus
got him
Walker?
this year. I thought we got him this year.
No,
you said this is year 2
no.
because
Yeah, we
Okay.
signed him. Yeah,
okay.
this is
So
he's already had
I
2
think
years with us.
the names from this free agent, that last year's free agent signings, which would have been 2023, 2024, I think there were a lot more mainstays there. Like Amp said, you would expect more from the linebackers that are going to be Bears linebackers, but sometimes you're not going to find out that you overpaid for a guy or underpaid for a guy until they perform. Who thought that TJ Edwards would be the quote unquote more productive linebacker between him and Edmonds? No one thought that, but you got to play to find out. But he, like we're so quick to judge. I think yes, Edmonds has been underwhelming, but he hasn't been like a guy who like, hey, we need to get rid of him right now. He just hasn't been the guy we thought he would be. Name some more people on that list.
So we had, and then real quick to this here, in the comment here, Roquan upset me. They should have kept him, but he was the one that really pissed me off. Dave Montgomery was a dude that is a stud. Definitely agree with you there. You need an inch and he'll get you 3 feet. Montgomery chose to leave us though.
But what if I tell you that Montgomery's numbers look better with Detroit because they have a better offensive scheme and O-line? Like his numbers were good here. Him not staying here doesn't mean his numbers will look like they look in Detroit with that offensive line. People forget that.
True. Yeah, true. But very true. His numbers I don't think were terrible or bad with us. And I think
his numbers have been better
that he gave.
Scary. Remember, he didn't share that many snaps here. He's splitting snaps in Detroit. His numbers are better. He had double-digit touchdowns with Detroit. He didn't have that here with the Bears.
No, for sure. Like I said,
so,
a lot of that has to do with the offensive line and having someone to play off of as well.
Nagy. Nagy was his quarterback. Was his play caller. So I mean, shit.
Right. Yeah, right there. That's a big.
I mean,
that's a big
if you a wide receiver and you play for Tom Osborne back in the early '90s, and then you transfer and you go play for Miami, your numbers gonna look different.
Sure. So, PJ Walker was another name on the list. PJ Walker didn't even make.
They let him go. Yeah, they let him go. He went to
for a 2-year deal.
Thought he'd be a key backup.
Yeah, at the time he was a similar kind of body, similar look
style.
To Justin Fields. Style, yes.
No, he's much smaller than Justin. But they got him after he played in the USFL or the XFL. I think he was like runner-up for MVP. He balled out in one of those leagues. They didn't keep him because Bajent won the job over him for the number 2. They only kept 2 quarterbacks that year. I remember that very fluidly. Mm-hmm. He went on to he signed with the Browns.
I think
so. And I think he won a game with the Browns that year. But he was a backup. He was a backup who you were like, hey, look, if he gets some spin, if we let him spin when something happens, hey, he won't have us dropping off a cliff. But he got beat out. It's the NFL. Guys get beat out. So hey,
wasn't even close. Andrew Billings was the other guy, and he was a very solid signing as well.
Bona fide guy who the defense did drop off once they lost him this year. So I would say that's a very solid, underrated signing actually.
Robert Tonyan was.
That was a big
2-year, maybe 1-year guy. He didn't do anything. A former Green Bay guy as well. Yeah,
he had a big drop versus the Browns. I remember that. He had a big drop versus the Browns. Justin hit him on the wide open, butt naked in the cold.
Which would have been an easy. He could have done a cartwheel.
Walked in. Touchdown. He could have. Yeah. He could have rolled. He could have caught it, rolled in the end zone.
Correct.
And that's not the reason they lost, but that didn't help.
No, but that shit like that changes the fucking style and the momentum of the game. Who knows?
Yes, it does.
How the game would have turned out, how the offense would have been rolling, the confidence it would have gave them to hit that touchdown. I mean, it is what it is. At the end, it's done and over with. But it's like one of those, having those drops in those moments does nothing to help build up confidence in your team and in your offense and whatnot, because everyone's looking at themselves and being like, God damn it, I don't know if we're going to get an opportunity like that again, guys. So, but those were all the free agent signings that have happened with polls. Would you say so far in those free agent signings, would you say that at least half of those have been a hit, have been solid signings or 60-40? Like what percentage wise?
I don't know what the NFL success rating is on free agents, but I would say for the Bears in the second year of a rebuild, people forget this about the the Poles thing. He said it was going to be a rebuild. He didn't give the rebuild a time. He said it would take time. And then for those who want to go back to his comments about we're going to take the North and never give it back, he didn't say, if you go back and listen, he didn't say we're going to take it immediately. He put a plan into base, and then he said, then we will be taking the North and never giving it back. So people like to use that, well, we haven't taken the North. He didn't put a timeline on it, on either of those things. Not excusing him, just saying people like to jump to those conclusions in those comments. Like it was a 30-minute press conference and you only picked one quote that you wanted, to nitpick. But I will say that class was a lot more productive. There were some hits, there were some misses. The majority of those guys who are still on the team now will most likely be back. I don't see a reason for Billings to not come back, whether you go to a 3-4 or 4-3. I'm pretty sure he'll be back as long as he's healthy. Both linebackers will be here. Obviously, Tunyon was let go directly after the year he should have been. I don't think he's in the league right now.
Right.
So I would give that class a C plus.
Level then? C plus.
C plus. There were no superstars in that. But TJ Edwards has balled. I think he's a better than average linebacker. He actually looks better here than he did with Philadelphia, and they went to Super Bowl. So the year he was there, he was
more productive than
Edmonds
has.
And Edmonds got more money. So Edmonds was the bigger name in free agency.
Yes.
Better production than you thought. So I would give it a C plus, B minus. You didn't have any all pros. You don't have any Pro Bowl players, which Pro Bowl is kind of overrated now, based on all the alternates.
Yes and no. Bonuses get tied into that. Whenever they look into who's going to be a Hall of Famer, a lot of that shit gets looked into of how many Pro Bowls did they make, how many All Pro teams did they make. Well, you know what I mean. So it's like, I hear you.
A Pro Bowl is a lot easier to make than an All Pro. Yeah.
For real, and that is true, because a lot of the times you weren't an actual Pro Bowler, but because the main guy is in the Super Bowl or decided I don't want to show,
I don't want to play in it. Yeah, Mr. Trubisky was a Pro Bowler.
So it's like
Mr. Trubisky was a Pro Bowler.
For real.
All I got to say.
Yeah.
All I got to say.
So, anyways, let's
hold up
real quick.
The backup quarterback for the Ravens was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago. Huntley, who's a Miami backup.
Tyler Huntley. Tyler
Huntley was a Pro Bowler 1 year.
Yes.
He was the sixth alternate.
You back with us?
How are we sounding over there? How are we sounding?
Back to normal.
Good.
You're back to being amped up.
That's cool.
So
go ahead. Do your thing.
Hey, Commish, I got to give you some credit, man. This how we got it looking today, it looks different. It threw me off, but I kind of like it.
I like it.
I kind of like it more than
it's a different look from the main show.
Yeah. I like it.
All right, cool. We'll roll with it here with what we got going on with the pregame show, the offseason. Like I said, I'd like to put this as our offseason show. I figured every maybe 2-3 weeks we come back.
Try something out.
Yeah,
I ain't mad at you.
We give the people the content that they love to get out of here. So it's always good to hang out with you all at the Clubhouse. I hope everybody else enjoys hanging out at the Clubhouse with us as we talk Bears football. If you do, please show your appreciation. Hit a thumbs up. The HBO special, like Coach Chef always likes to say.
Help a brother out.
Then, there we go. Share us as well with other fellow Bear fans as well. So let's get into real quick. Go ahead real quick.
I was going to say the last two Michael comments were really good comments about the toughness for the roster.
Oh.
More toughness. Hope he brings in some toughness.
1,000%, yes.
That team is up. I just personally have a hard time calling the NFL team soft and Sharman, but I get it. I get what you're getting at.
Not as tough as you want them
but
to be.
More toughness. I would prefer more toughness. Yeah.
So let's move into some of these trades that Ryan Poles has pulled off here and kind of evaluate them as well. After we get done with that, we'll break down the last two draft picks, the draft picks that have happened the last 2 years, and then we'll wrap up the show here. But the trades, and if I forget any, please feel free to kind of put them into the chat, or you guys mention
it's a lot
as
of
well.
them.
Yeah, it's quite a few here. I guess some
More
of the
during
most
more during the
notable ones
drafts,
here.
though.
Khalil Mack, we ended up trading Khalil Mack. We ended up getting a 2nd and 6th round pick for him. N'Keal Harry is someone that we traded for. We've traded a 7th round pick for him, which is whatever. 7th round pick isn't necessarily something of high value, but usually if you're giving up a 7th round guy, I feel pretty confident that we could have maybe waited for Harry to get cut and then signed him at that point, or try and go for him at that way. And if even if we didn't get him, Harry didn't really do. He had one good catch for us.
He did have one good catch. I had a higher expectation because he's a former 1st round pick, but I mean 7th round.
So,
I mean, it was either him or you got a guy who you probably was going to cut in training camp anyway.
So yep. So next, we ended up trading Robert Quinn. We ended up getting a 4th round pick for that, which was fine. He was 38 years old at that point. Last
He was not
year
productive after that trade.
Right. So we traded away Roquan Smith, got a 2nd rounder and a 5th round pick from the Ravens. Then we traded for Chase Claypool. We gave up a 2nd rounder. That ended up a big swing and a miss there.
Here's the thing, though. So I wish it's not your fault. I did watch a video that broke down
I
those
know I
trades.
didn't trade for him. It's not my fault.
No, it's not that. It's that then it also did what we picked for those picks or who we double traded. Some of those ended up being more trades. But that one I remember because unfortunately that 2nd round draft pick is now a starting cornerback for the
junior.
Exactly. So that one we remember because it's such a bad trade. But those other trades did come to fruition for us in some picks and some of them got traded again during the draft. So they were just cycled in, cycled out. That happens in the NFL. That was probably I think that's the biggest fault of Poles. He's not the first GM to make a bad trade. But I think that's the only glaring trade. Obviously, the Carolina trade you haven't mentioned is the biggest one. All the picks we got from that. The Khalil one was something that when you're cleaning house, you kind of, if you felt you had to clean house, you got to get rid of them. Same thing with the Roquan trade.
With his age.
I mean, he's produced. He's had some more double sack seasons. One, I want to say, is semi-flawed. I got into argument the year he had that, the year after the trade, because he had like a 12 sack season, but I think he had like 6-5 in one game. So that's a little skewed on the stat projection thing. When you have 12, but you get 6 in one game, that means you had another, 16 games with 6 sacks, but he was productive. So, I mean, if your goal was to clean house, then that's what you did. But the Claypool is the most glaring trade. Obviously, it's the most glaring because you were trading off a potential that never got reached. He was projected to be, Calvin Johnson, 6'4", runs a 4.4. Like, I remember me, Amp, and Sugar and Vodka got into it for the whole season until the end of the season about it. And they got on my ass about it. I just kept saying the potential was there. He had some production. He had like 900 as a rookie. It fell off second year. But there was a in hindsight, yes, horrible. But at the time, it was like, this guy's got all the physical tools to be productive. So I didn't think it was a bad trade until it wasn't. Hindsight is 2020.
Who else you have, Commish?
So to round it off,
I'm wrong too sometimes.
No one bats 1,000. No one bats 1,000. So next we have the big one that Coach Chef just brought up. We ended up trading the number 1 pick. In that trade, we ended up getting DJ Moore. We ended up getting the 9th pick and then trading one more back and ended up getting Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, and then we also have a 2nd round pick this year's draft who we don't quite know who we're going to get, but
still eating from that trade.
Correct. Next, we have Dan Feeney that we gave up a 6th round pick to get. It's one of those things that, I get these are 6 rounders, but this is maybe where guys, you give up these these are the guys you maybe want to try and develop trenches or take some shots here and get guys like Braxton Jones and stuff like that instead of using it on a vet, whatnot. But Dan Feeney was one. We was able to salvage somewhat of something and trading away Claypool to Miami and got a 6th rounder out of that. We ended up trading a 2nd rounder to get Montez Sweat for the
Boo.
God, we singing now. He's singing.
Boo.
I mean, the guy is good. He's singing now. He's an R&B singer. Oh, okay.
It must have been
and a
his cousin. They're related somehow.
A retired R&B singer.
And he's relevant in some places. In some cities in this country, he has a syndicated late night talk show. But
yes, he does. Yes, he does.
So, but you got
Ryan
you
Bates.
got Sweat.
Yeah, we had Ryan Bates that we gave up a 5th round pick for. We have Keenan Allen that we gave up a 4th round pick for. Justin Fields, we traded and we're going to get a 6th round pick since the Steelers ended up sitting him. And then last but not least, we have Herbert, the running back
from Cincinnati.
Herbert, that we're going to get a 7th round pick for in this year's draft. So we have, a 7th rounder, another 6th rounder here with Fields, like I said, but we gave up a 5th rounder for Bates. We gave up a 4th rounder for Allen, and then we gave up another one to move up in the draft to try and get Booker as well.
I know this isn't a trade.
That's the one. That's the one that bugs me the most, man. Out of all those names you name, out of all those trades, it's the Keenan Allen for 1 year, giving up a 4th round pick. That's the one that, and when it happened, it ate at my craw.
Really?
So at the time, I think most of us didn't mind it at the time, but in hindsight, he didn't produce as much as we'd hoped.
And then you got you gave up a 4th round pick, and then you pick up this pretty much Hall of Fame, not pretty much Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, and Mercedes Lewis, who was just a roster space taken, man. It's just so I don't get that.
This year his production.
I don't
fell
get
off.
that.
He had some penalties on him this year that weren't too good. His blocking wasn't as stellar as it had been the majority of his career. But I mean, you brought back a guy who was going to be a de facto 3rd tight end, who was going to be a de facto coach on the field. There were reports about him going to the OC Shane and having some comments about Shane about not changing the offense, but giving some more variety up. So you got some leadership out of him in that aspect based on those reports. So, but yeah, I mean, how much production do you really get out of your 3rd tight end when you're not a good team?
You know what? When you're a future Hall of Famer, man, even if you don't produce on the field, you got to make your presence felt in that locker room. And that is, if he did, it wasn't seen. If he did, because that team needs changing from the, you know what I mean? It's bad.
So since those were the trades,
so what do you? How would you evaluate the trades then so far? Yeah.
I probably give him
C as well of those trades.
C plus. No, I give him higher because of the Carolina trade. The Carolina trade. Yeah. Okay, buddy. Okay. C, say hi.
Hey.
There he is.
Bro.
Hey.
I give him
shy.
Been waiting to see you all
I give him a because of that Carolina trade. Carolina trade. I give him a B. Because that trade is going to go down in history, not just with Bears, but pretty much all GMs. That's going to be a top 10. I give him a B. One of them. It has to be.
That's too much now. Too much. You got to go sit down, buddy. Right. That's going to be a big one. Right. That's going to be a big one. I mean, as of now, so the Bears have 7 picks. Wait, has our assistant GM hasn't signed with a team, right? He hasn't gotten a job. We get 2 compensatory picks for him if that does happen.
If he goes to Tennessee, we get a 2nd round pick. We get a 2nd round pick this year and a 2nd round pick next year. If he goes to Tennessee.
Okay.
2.
So as of now, for 2025, you still have Carolina 2nd round picks. You have 2 picks. You have 2 picks in the top 45. You have a pick from the Steelers, the 6th round. You have a pick from that's the Justin Fields pick, the pick in the 6th round. You got 2 picks in the 7th. from Cincinnati, and then one from Cleveland by way of Minnesota. I don't remember that one, but yeah. So you got 1, 2 2s, a 3, a 5th, a 6, and 2 7s going into this year.
So let's before we get into let's go to his first year's draft and look at the players that he drafted here before we can kind of get into the draft. So we have with his first pick was Darnell
no first round
Wright.
pick. Remember, no. You got to go back. That was his second draft. His first draft.
He's had 3. He's only had 3. So we're in 2025 now.
Yeah. So
what?
His first
2023.
His first draft was not Cal Fuller. I'm sorry, Kyler Gordon, Brisker. That was his first draft. You got
2022.
You got your starting left tackle. Yeah, you got your starting left tackle out of that draft because you didn't have a first round pick. Remember, that was traded away by the previous regime. So you had Kyler Gordon, Brisker, Bayless Jones, obviously the flop, a bust third round pick. You got Braxton Jones you could go say what you want about Braxton Jones. He's been a starter. He's been an average 64 starting tackles. He's rated right in the middle as average.
How many games? How many games has he played since he's been here?
Until this year, he started played double-digit games every year until this year. Actually, including this year.
You don't even bring him back.
Braxton's played. I think he's gonna be back. Braxton has played 40 games. 40 games.
3 seasons. In 3 seasons.
17, 11, and 12. He started every game. Every game he's been healthy, he started. Every game he's been healthy, he started. But he rates right in the middle from all the metric. He rates pretty much as an average left tackle. But there are games where he's really good. There are games, obviously, when you're really bad, it's more spotlighted. But for a 5th round pick, you have a 5th round tackle who became your starter. I think he's played out of his mind to be a 5th round draft pick. You didn't have any first round picks that draft. Let me go back to that list again. You got some more linemen from that draft who you didn't keep. You got Kramer in that draft. You got Ja'Tyre Carter, who finally got cut this year. You got Dominic Robinson, who's been 22. Yeah, you got Dominic Robinson, who was a DN, but he came into college as a receiver. Tight end receiver. So he was a developmental guy. You got Tristan Ebner, who's no longer in the league. Doug Kramer, obviously.
Did you mention Zachary Thomas in the 6th
Zachary
round?
Thomas, who got cut, but he's still in the league. He's not a starter, but he's been bouncing. He's been on like 4 different teams. So you got a guy who's on an NFL roster who never played for you because he didn't make the final cut. He was a 6th round pick because you had 3 6th round picks that year. So Gordon and Brisker were 2nd round picks. Bayless was a 3rd round pick. Now, for all those who wanted the big hill was people wanted the receiver who plays for Pittsburgh now.
Pickens.
Pickens. Now, the problem with Pickens was his mindset. That he has been a big play for receivers for them, but I would say he's garner more stories because of his antics on and off the field. So
he's drafted 2 punters. Trenton Gill the first time, and then now he's drafted.
And then he got this other one. That's
like the lesser of 2 evils, man. The year we drafted Darnell Wright, when we could have had Carter. We could have had a real 3 technique deep tackle.
That's another guy
that's like the
what does that guy do to
talking
the locker
about
room that doesn't
talking
have
about
but Darnell Wright's going to be a starter for the next
never
decade.
know.
We'll never
know, will we?
But if Darnell Wright turns into a Pro Bowl All-Pro tackle, then we not going to care.
I'm talking about now.
So we're talking about the enemy. I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon is a Hall of Famer. Got picked before Jordan, but ain't nobody mad about that pick. Houston ain't. It's the pick after them that was the problem. I mean, when you get
the Sam Bowies, it's Portland. Yeah, exactly. Portland is mad about it. Portland is mad about it.
It's a huge drop off between.
Portland is mad about it. Remember, they traded with the Bulls.
You can't even see that.
Portland is mad. Portland is mad. Portland is mad.
I'd take Darnell Wright. I'll take Darnell Wright each time.
Before we get into the following year's draft picks, letter grade on his first draft. there.
First
without
draft, I
having
give it
first round.
I give it a
You
B.
Gordon and
You get two
Brisker in the
starters.
second round. Bayless
You
was
get a slot
bust
starter.
in the third.
You get Gordon,
So
who's
you
a
get a B.
starter. You get Brisker, who's a starter. Health issues, he's not, but he's a starter, bona fide starter. You get Braxton Jones, 5th round pick to be your starting tackle for every game he's been healthy. And you get a swing, you get a swing guard tackle in Kramer, just Tyree Carden, so they cut him. You get Elijah Hicks, who's still on the team as your as a second, third string safety who also plays special teams. Trenton Gill, he's in the league,
Tristan
but
Ebner didn't stick around.
Tristan Ebner, he's the only guy from that draft who did not play a game after 2022. Every guy had recorded some type of statistic or playing a game up until 2023. Jatari Carter didn't get signed after he was released this year, but all those guys have been on a roster. But for not having a first round pick, and you got 3 starters, out of all those picks.
Because of just Gordon,
C+.
Because of Gordon and Brisker, I give him a C+ because of those 2 guys.
Okay. Wow, something you guys agree on. I got to mark the date on that one.
It's a rarity, man.
That's a rare moment right there.
Hey, you made the best. You made the best out of those 2 picks. The 39th pick and the 48th pick.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's go ahead and look into the 2023 draft picks here. Like you said, with the first round pick that he ended up getting Darnell Wright. In the second round, we got Javon Dexter and then Tyreek Stevenson. Third round, we ended up getting Zach Pickens, who's not looking so good so far. Then the fourth round, let's see. Fourth round, we ended up getting Roshan Johnson, who has been okay in moments, but
underwhelming overall.
Hasn't been. You
can't ball out if you ain't balling.
First contact.
Mm-hmm.
That was
you can't ball out if you ain't balling.
Biggest thing. You go for a bigger back like that, you would hope that he would be able to break a few more tackles and not go down on the first contact.
This was a down year for him, though. This was a down year for him. The injuries, the concussion. His longest run this year was 9 yards, so completely underwhelming. I think his role drastically changed. He was like almost strictly. He literally turned into only a goal line back. I think it was a misuse there. Tyler Scott, you haven't gotten that a lot of. You didn't get anything from Noah Sewell, who I swore up and down that Noah Sewell was going to take Jack Sanborn's job. Has not happened.
Also, we agreed on that. Mm-hmm.
Terrell Smith, who is another 5th round pick, who actually has started games in the league. And Travis Bell. He wasn't on the team this year, and then you get Kendall Williamson, who is on the roster, but he's on the Bears. I think they let him go. But of that roster, only one guy did not play a snap in 2024. He's with the he didn't play in 2023 the year they drafted him, but he's on another team now. He's with the Chargers. That was their 7th round pick.
Okay.
But you got Darnell Wright, starter. Mm-hmm. You got a starter from your 2nd round pick. You got a starter for your your first 3 picks are starters. Your 3rd round pick is your swing tackle who battled some injuries as well. Roquan, you got a backup, Tyler, who didn't perform very well this year. He got way more snaps in his rookie year. So it's top heavy. Your draft out of 2, 4, 6, 8.
Adjustments.
So you got 1, 2, 3 starters. 3 starters. And all of those guys are on your team except out of 10 picks, 8 of them are still on your roster. I give that a B+. Actually, no.
Give it a C.
Michael, thank you for
Darnell's a starter.
Michael, thank you for checking this out real quick.
Javon Dexter is a breakthrough player this year. Needs more help.
So, Michael, we want to thank you for checking us out as well. It's always,
thanks, Mike.
We always love having people at the clubhouse hanging with us at the clubhouse.
Tune in anytime.
Come back and check us out.
We appreciate you.
Mention us to a fellow Bear fan. I'm sure there's more of us out there. So if you know any Bears,
bear down,
and like I said, share the love here. So, but we appreciate you checking us out here. So Coach Jeff, didn't mean to interrupt you real quick, but I just wanted to show some love to the chat.
No problem.
Ahead, what was your final letter grade there on this last year's draft? Or
I gave it a B plus. Actually, no, I give it an A-. You got 3 starters. You get your starting corner, you get your starting tackle, your three technique, and you get your starting right tackle. Them alone, all 3 of those guys are starters. And then your 4th pick, who is your other 3rd round pick, all those you got your next 2 picks are rotational guys. The rest of the guys are special teams guys. But shoot, Terrell Smith, a 5th round pick, was battling for starting corner position for the past couple of years when he's healthy once again. Stevenson had some shaky moments. He stepped in as a starter. He played solidly. I give it an A-.
I give it a C, man. I don't think that D tackle is going to be in our new system, and Dennis Allen kind of defense. I don't think
you're talking about.
He'll be on the team. He'll be on the team, but he won't be the starter.
You talking about Dexter?
That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm.
Allen runs Dexter. Doesn't he run a 4-3?
I don't. He's not that guy.
He's not a nose. He's a 3 technique.
He's not that.
Okay.
I'm giving him a C.
Okay.
I'm giving him a C.
All right. Last but not least, let's go ahead and get to this. We're coming up on 2 hours on the show.
5 sacks this season.
When you're having fun, man. So, but let's finish up this last most recent draft here and then wrap up the show. Like I said, normally we're not on for this long, but like I said, when we're having a good time hanging out at the clubhouse, next thing you know, the sun's coming up. So
QB hits 19.
So obviously the first pick that we had, we ended up using on Caleb Williams. Second pick in the first round was with Rome Odunze. Second round pick. I don't think we didn't have a second round pick. So then what did we get? Next was Kareem Amagaji in the 3rd round from Penn State. Came in injured already. So I know a lot of us weren't too thrilled with that pick, or felt that we could have possibly gotten somebody else. 4th round pick, that's when we used it on our punter and Troy Taylor. And then our last pick, we traded
more valuable than we thought he would be
to get Austin Booker. He definitely punted a lot more than Caleb Williams told him that he would be punting.
He did.
So
you had 5 picks, 2 first, a 3rd, 4th, 5th. Yeah.
Yeah, so not too many picks in this most recent draft.
That draft class, that draft class is an A. That draft class is an A.
You got your decade plus quarterback. You gonna get Rome,
your future number 1, your future number 1 wide receiver, your future number 1 wide receiver. I get that draft class an A. Because you got the kid, and I think Rome. By the way, I said it before, I said it again. I think first of all, I'm saying we could have went and got a lineman. I think Rome is a gift. Is a gift. You know, I'm not. Hey, I love it. Hey, I love him. I'm just saying. I think we should have got a tackle, but we got Rome. Like I said, future number 1 receiver. He was the number 2. I like him, man. I give it an A. I get that draft class an A.
Austin Booker's a development guy, but I think he'll be okay. He's a speed guy. The thing about him that watching the games is that when he's on the field, even when he's not getting to the quarterback, when the play ends, he's always there. And as we all know, for defense, if you're in the picture consistently, things are going to happen positively for you. So even if you're not making the sack, sometimes you're chasing a play and you get a fumble recovery, you get a pick.
Absolutely.
When you're a defensive player and you're always around in the camera screen on camera, you're always around the end of the play. Good things will happen. Good things will happen.
Absolutely. So bad things will happen. Bad things will happen when the play is still going on and you're standing in the end zone
somewhere else,
cheering the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Or you still struggling with the D tackle.
That's when bad things happen.
So he did have a crucial penalty this year, but he's a rookie. I remember seeing people, you gotta cut him. Like, shut up. Troy Taylor, you hope that he doesn't punt as much as he did this year. Amagaji, these another full year of development. I know we were critical of him. I don't think he was ready when they put him in. Like people will say, "Oh, let him play." I don't think he would have been ready until. I don't think he would have been ready. That quad he had was a major thing.
We'll soon find out.
Next year will be a test. Will be a test whether they play him a guard, whether they play him a tackle. I think he might be our future guard.
I
think he'll be his guard.
Get rid of Tevin in free agency.
I was going to say on the left side. On the left side. I think he'll be on the left side. I think he'll be on the left side.
It'll be interesting to see what we do in this.
My!
What players that they choose
to
go after and try and bring back. So
people forget Caleb. I know we're all going to look at as Daniel's stats and what he did with Washington, but Caleb Williams, whatever you want to say, Caleb Williams is already
18,
top 3 all time single season passing.
Hold on.
Caleb, number 18, Rome, and Torrey. That's an A.
Yeah. Get from over there, little boy. Get out my stuff. What do you mean no? Get your little behind somewhere before you get popped.
Well, guys, it'll be interesting, like I said, to see what they do in this most coming up free agency. It's going to start here in about a month and a half or so, maybe 2 months before the official season kicks off, to where free agents can kind of start being signed and at least start negotiating with. So if they do end up doing something like that and they move Amagaji to the guard position, it'll be interesting to see what free agents they go after, if they try and go after Ronnie Staley with Baltimore. And that's assuming that Baltimore makes him available. And I think even the Chiefs have Trey Smith as well. That might be a free agent this coming up season as well. Of course, all of these guys are going to be expensive. None of them are going to be cheap. But from what we've seen so far from this new coaching staff and what we've heard from ownership is they're telling this new coaching staff that price really isn't an issue. Go get the guys that you need to get. I mean, Dennis Allen isn't going to be coming cheap. That's what I'm saying. That if they're saying price isn't going to be an issue, get the guys that you want to get to build up your coaching staff. That's going to be good. And then, like I said, someone who's a former coach, Dennis Allen, being as your DC now, he's going to be one of the higher paid DCs in the NFL. So go ahead.
I'm saying as long as they let Johnson do his thing and don't step in there, because hey, in my opinion, polls can't pick linemen. So let Johnson say, I want this guy. If he's available, we'll take him. I want this guy if he's available. Dennis Allen, I want this guy, because we haven't seen Bears linebackers, truly Bears linebackers. The stigma. It's been a while, man. I'm not talking about Roquan. Roquan was a tackling machine. I give him that. I'm talking about linebackers that made an impact, that changed the game. It's been a while since Chicago's seen that. Since, matter of fact,
I have a prediction. Okay, we had a really bad season offensively and just all around. Next year, we have 2 1,000-yard receivers. We play in a 17-game season, which means you only got about an average about 55, 58 yards to get 1,000 even. DJ had 966 in a career low for yards per catch. Like, that's astonishing. The 990 he had. The guy's a big play receiver. Rome was second with 734, averaging 13.6. Both of these guys hit 1,000 yards. If they stay healthy, minimum, if they both play 15 games, I still got them at 1,000 apiece next year.
That's about right. That's about right. But what we're about to see is going to be a change in running backs. It has to be. If Campbell is going to run,
you need another running back. You need another
running back, and that only helps the kid out. That only helps 18 out. Actually helps him out also. So
I don't mind Swift. I think Swift is still your speed back, but you need another guy. You need a
downhill runner. You need a downhill runner.
You either got to have a breakout year, which means that he rushes for more than 150, and they give him more things to do, get him more in space. Because he seemed like he got slower this year. But Roquan,
that's because they was trying to run him between the tackles, man. You can't run that little guy.
Or you bring another guy to compete for that second back who's more of your old school thunder back. But yeah, you got a 2-back system. Swift still had 1,000 yards overall. I think like about 1,100, 900, 300. So he's still
How many touches?
250
Absolutely.
plus 42. So he didn't even have 300 total touches as far as receiving. He didn't. And
you look at other running backs on the team. He had 350 total.
He had 290, 297, 295.
And the next running back closest to him had how many?
Roquan.
Yeah, I know,
55, right? He had 55 attempts, and he had 16 catches. No back even
close.
Had half of that on attempts of running.
That's my point.
Shoot, DJ Moore was fourth on the team in running attempts. Rushing attempts, excuse me. Complete misuse of the running backs this year.
That's
complete
bad.
Misuse of running backs.
That's all I was saying, Coach. That's all I was saying.
I agree with you. I agree 100%.
Yeah, Waldron definitely. When you see your offensive coordinator's hand shaking on the sideline as he's calling plays, that's never a good sign. So, I think he's a little nervous. So,
never commish.
Yeah, I have faith and hopefully this next offensive coordinator that comes in won't be as shaky. But like I said, I think that's safe to say, considering that we all know that Ben Johnson is going to be the play caller here. The offensive line or the offensive coordinator, I always thought was going to be the trickiest guy to kind of hire or position to hire for, just because whoever takes that role has to be comfortable and good with being in Ben Johnson's shadow, knowing that you're not really getting to call plays here. Ben Johnson's going to do it. You're
you understand
more or less
that?
going to be. No, I understand that, but you need to find a guy that is okay with being in the shadow.
I think that
There's some guys that don't want to be that.
I think that young guy Doyle, he's the OC. I think he'll be okay with it. He's a guy learning. He'll learn. The more knowledge you gain, like if from the guys who I've coached under, I took a lot from, especially the offensive guys who I coached under. You take a lot from those guys and experiences, even if you don't have the play calling, because you're always thinking situationally, good play or bad, because you have your script internally as the assistant OC or coach. You have a script in your mind about how you was schematically planning it. So it's just another learning experience.
I'm gonna close it out with this.
Have any kind of script,
right? I was gonna close it out with this. Even though,
let's give our final
Ben Johnson. Even though Ben Johnson, I'm gonna close it out with this. Even though Ben Johnson was an OC, watching him on the sidelines, man, he never seemed to waver. Just like that last game, you know what I'm saying? He never seemed shook. He was always into it.
No matter what people on the outside say, because there was a bunch of people saying the next day he couldn't wait to get out of there. He was running his
I don't believe that. I don't believe that because he was trying to win that game.
You really think that guy was ready to leave that team when they were in the game, the entire game, even with the turnovers? Yes, we could talk about the receiver, the reverse pass. We could talk about that. Okay, but still, don't tell me that guy was ready to get out of Detroit when he had a chance.
I don't believe that.
Chance to win the Super Bowl. Get the hell out of there.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So that's my closing statement.
Maybe that's how I think we operate at your job, but that's not how that guy operates.
We got the right guy for the right team, and going forward, I think the Bears are headed in the right direction. So I'm gonna end it on a positive note. I think we're headed in the right direction. That's what I'm gonna say about the Bears. Bear down, baby.
All right. Coach Chef, final thoughts here before I wrap it up and close this out.
Definitely, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing who's going to be the OC coach. I want to see who's going to be the D-line
OC coach. Is Doyle. OC is Doyle.
I'm sorry. You're right. The O-line coach. O-line coach. Definitely want to see who's going to be the O-line coach. I want to see who's going to be all these position coaches. I'm looking forward to seeing the entire coaching staff. I'm looking forward to the offseason, what's available. There should be, I think, actually, offensive line-wise, there's more available free agents based on price and age this year than the past 2 years. I think we get a guy. I think we get a bona fide starter at some position. And then I can't wait for the draft. I'm an offseason type of guy. So although I don't have the time to watch all the bowl, the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl and this bowl and that bowl and the like I did in my 20s, offseason is one of my favorite types of the season. It gets you rearing up for the regular season. So can't wait for the draft, even though it's in Green Bay.
Very well said, Coach Jeff. Very well said.
So are we heading in the right direction, Coach?
Green Bay. The draft is in Green Bay this year. Who going up for that? Who going to the draft this year?
Is it really?
Yes. You think Green Bay's ready for a draft? They about to run out of cheese.
Whatever, man.
Yeah,
whatever.
I know.
They're not ready. Not to hide into that, man. No, that's like a Super Bowl for them.
They got the draft. They got the draft this year. It's in Green Bay.
Okay.
It ain't Tennessee. Yeah, it's not Tennessee. I think cities like Tennessee, Nashville was ready for it. Chicago, obviously, the first two drafts were ready when they start traveling. Vegas, I think I don't think they're ready, but
man, you couldn't have said a more unimpressive thing right now.
That's on my face is like this.
Like
Green Bay about to have a draft.
Is everyone gonna go fishing afterwards? Or
I mean, you better
like
off having it in Wisconsin. You better off having it in Milwaukee.
Hey, but you know what? You know what's not going to happen? You know what's not going to happen?
Major city.
You don't have to worry about those players being drafted getting in trouble. You really don't. You won't have to worry about that.
Shit gonna be closed. That nightlife. Shit gonna be closed at midnight. Shit gonna be closed at midnight.
As soon as they get drafted, they're taking a private plane out of there.
So
they'll
is there an airport equipped for that?
Say how far is Chicago from there? You be like, how far? Like what? 20-minute flight, 30-minute flight?
Hey, we ain't got to fly.
Let's go.
Hey, let's get the limo. You could drive me back.
Right.
Don't waste that air.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm a first rounder. I can afford a limo ride. Yeah.
Hey. Never mind. Actually, no, the Uber to Milwaukee is actually not that bad either, actually, surprisingly. From Chicago to Milwaukee, the Uber is remarkably cheaper than you think it is.
I'm going to say about 120.
Well, hopefully I think it's less than 200. All right. Well, hopefully I'll never have to find myself needing a reason to go there to old Milwaukee.
Especially going there.
Man. Right, I might have to look into some flights and some hotels in Green Bay. That might be the cheapest. Place to go for the draft.
You better slap yourself for saying that. That ain't right.
You're about right. I mean, if there's a hotel available, I'm like, why? Why Green Bay? You know what I'm saying?
Airbnb over there. That's all they got. You're staying in some Airbnb.
They're gonna be renting out Motel 6s for $300 a night, $500 a night, man.
I put money on that.
And that's the price is normal for them.
Yeah. Your little dive, the places that you walk in and you can just smell it. You know what I'm saying? Before you get to your room, you can just smell it. You're like, like I'm in the wrong hotel or motel. I'm in the wrong place. I'm not gonna lay down. I'm not laying down. Yeah.
Ooh boy.
Go ahead, Commish. I'm sorry. I digress. Go ahead, Commish.
It is. It was a pleasure.
We got to plan a podcast trip to Green Bay for the draft.
Oh hell no! Oh
what the hell? I'll be here. I'll be here.
You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you?
Perfect. Spot on. FGB. And we got the dub. FGB.
With that said, Coach Chef needs to take his medicine, folks. We need to go ahead and end this. He's getting delirious now. So
you need to go you need to re-up.
Yeah.
Re-up.
Go ahead and get yourself a refill because you're on empty there. Thank you guys for joining us. Please go ahead and hit that like button. All right. Please share us. And please to check us out next time. We have the Tuesday main show coming up on Tuesday with T-Nick, Frank the Tank, JB Stats, and Foul Mouth C. We are going to try and get together here about every maybe 2 to 3 weeks as well.
I got a new nickname for JB. Negative Nancy.
Oh yeah.
Nah, not my guy. Not my guy. Nah, man.
I love JB.
Nah, not my guy, man.
I like the other nickname he gave himself. He said he gave himself the warrior wart.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was like, all right.
Yeah. That's cute.
I was like, all right, that's fitting. But anyways, guys, thank you for joining us. Like I said, please hit the like button. Please check us out.
HBO special, baby. Help a brother out. If you
Thank
watching,
you,
you might as
thank
well hit
you.
the like. It don't hurt you. It don't cost you nothing.
Bear down.
The damn thing, I promise you. So, anyways, guys, don't be doing that shit. Don't be doing the claw.
No. It's still no. It's still a no on that, man.
You got a new
No.
head coach. You got a new head coach.
No. Not yet. Not yet.
All right, guys. Take care. Be safe, guys. And remember, be good, but if you can't be good, well, damn it, at least be good at it.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
Oh, shit.
Later, y'all.
And now it's all over.
Hey.